Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this special mini episode of the RFP. I'm Vahid Farazana, founder and CEO of Freestyle Creative.
And I'm Kelly Gann, Freestyle's president. And today we are talking with a local filmmaker. Joining us today is Cate Jones, director of She's the Eldest. Cate, thanks so much for joining us on the RFP. How are you feeling about your deadCenter directorial debut?
I feel pretty good, a little nervous, but I'm pretty excited to, see how people react to it.
It's definitely a big accomplishment, and you've been at the festival for many years now on the acting side with a lot of award-winning films. But tell us about how you got here directing.
Well, I started being obsessed with movies when I was a little kid, because my neighborhood was pretty sketchy, so we didn't play outside much. So me and my sisters started making like plays and skits with each other, and my parents showed me a lot of really old movies, and so I knew I always wanted to act. And then in 2015, I was working for the government. I got really sick of it, and I was like, well, let me just like see if I can do that acting thing that I've always wanted to do. So I Googled it and found some classes and an agent, and quickly became obsessed with movies again just by like trying to study like good performances like James Dean and Marlon Brando. And then I started going to film school. And I want to say it was in 2014 that I got nominated to be a director for Mono, which was an anthology movie. And I'd never done it before outside of school. So it was very daunting and terrifying to like do a 20-minute piece with zero budget. But we got through it, and I felt pretty good, and a lot of people thought it was very funny, and they were very encouraging. So then I was like, well, I kind of want to make another one. Like, that was really fun, and it was terrifying and stressful, but it was enjoyable. So I decided to make a movie that like I could afford, basically, with all of my friends. A lot of them volunteered to work for free. And since I'd already produced a movie for Mickey Reese a couple of years ago and crowdfunded that, and it worked out pretty great, I was like, well, I can just do that again. So I sat down and wrote the script pretty fast. It all kind of wrote itself. I just made sure that I stuck to stuff I thought wasn't going to be outlandishly expensive, or things that we could pull off as a lower budget movie, and crowdfunded it through Seed and Spark, which lets people volunteer things for you. And then we shot it in September in 8 days, which was a bit of a nightmare, but it definitely it definitely helped me not to second guess myself, or I didn't have time to be afraid of it like working out, so I just had to do it because all these people were there, and most of them working for like, half price or whatever. And we got it done insanely enough. And then we got it edited, and we kind of just finished it in time for deadCenter. But yeah, it's the movie I set out to make. So that feels good. It didn't like morph into something that, I couldn't, work out. But, I think the key to it was knowing my financial limits with it. And also, I didn't stick to the formula of a family dramedy, like, because that movie's been made better with a lot more money and a bunch of movie stars. So I kind of shook up the bag and tried to make it its own thing, and I think that's why it feels so unique to me. But yeah, feels good.
I remember reading the script for the first time and I was just completely drawn in and I couldn't stop putting it down. And so when you were writing that, what was your inspiration? Because it's very, very unique and I'm excited for people to see it.
My sort of inspiration, I knew I wanted to make a movie with my friends, and I knew it wouldn't be too difficult to do it if it was in like mostly one location, like a house. I didn't think that would be too impossible to get. And then a lot of it draws from sort of my childhood. Like my sister helped raise us a lot, so it was a little bit of an homage to her and her kind of like taking the responsibility of like helping out with so many kids at home when my parents worked a lot. And the rest of it was just people I wanted to work with and just stuff that came to me as I was writing it. I don't really know how to fully explain it. I mean, it really did just kind of flow out and write itself. So, yeah.
So
There's
I'm
definitely
sure
a twist at the end that I'm excited for people to see, but
I'm excited for it as well. So I'm sure all this experience led you to where you are today. And so tell us a little bit about the synopsis for She's the Eldest.
So it's about three eccentric siblings that go to their childhood home to reconnect because the brother's wife has left him and he's feeling a bit suicidal. And so his sisters come home to, look after him and try to make him feel better. But they sort of all end up arguing. And then while they're there, they uncover like the past of their parents' disappearances while they're in the house. And then they kind of go on a little bit of a wild goose chase from there.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And another really special part of this film is that it was made with an all Oklahoma cast and crew. And Cate, a lot of people that you've worked with before in different capacities. Tell us about your experience on set.
It was very much a family vibe experience because I've worked with everyone except for like one PA before on multiple other projects since we have our, Oklahoma Film Incentive. And then it was really just all the people that I respect their work the most and that I feel like had the most heart in the right place. So it was very easy to get them on board, even with like, taking a pay cut and everything. And they were, the people that I felt like did the best work were still willing to work with me. So that worked out. But yeah, it turned out great. I mean, for the most part, the whole movie is either 2 takes or 3 takes, at the most 4 takes.
Wow.
But a lot of the shots are just, first take, and we didn't have time to mess with it. So we moved on, and it just worked out that everyone was so professional that, we didn't have to lollygag or worry about it not, coming off right. So
I remember being on set and watching you direct, and it just felt like a very, very natural thing. And so wanted to see from you any advice that you have for first-time directors that are stepping into directing a feature film for the first time.
Unless you feel like you have to do it and are like called to do it, and you definitely have to say this thing through yourself, as opposed to like, if you have a story you want to be told, you could just like get a screenwriter that you admire to do it for you and then just produce it and help raise the money for it. But if that's not good enough, if you just have to do it yourself, then direct a movie, because I had ulcers. I'm pretty sure I had a heart attack. It was the most stressful experience I think I've ever gone through. So first rule, don't do it unless you absolutely feel like you have to.
Run away. Don't change your mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been, obsessed with movies since I was a little kid. My dad made me watch like all the black and white movies and all the everything, and that's all we did when I was little. So, I knew the language that I was going into, so it wasn't, very foreign to me. But I guess the second rule would be write what you know. Don't try to. I can write from my perspective as like a white woman's perspective, and I don't think that if I tried to write a movie that took place in Africa that I would do a very good job. Maybe I could direct it, but I don't think I would have the right to try and write that perspective. And try to stay within your limits, but like do something different with that. So don't write like high speed car chases if you're not gonna have if you don't have that money promised to you. Don't sit around on a script with a bunch of like big explosions and expensive cars for a long time waiting for somebody to give you money if you haven't made anything for them to see to trust you with that money. Like start small and just get people talking in rooms and then go from there. And, I think that's, the best thing you can do.
What are some,
Lance sorry about that. Lance had some great advice too, talking about, hey, just get started, start with your first project, think of it as a career and start, stair stepping from there. But yeah, start with something manageable for your first project.
Yeah. I mean, I've had ideas for big budget things, but those should definitely be on the back burner until somebody trusts me enough to give me that much money. But I wouldn't trust myself to give me that much money, first go around on a feature, start small.
So what are some of the films that have inspired you as a filmmaker?
I love the usual Tarantino and Martin Scorsese movies for sure. But I think as an actor, I have really loved Elia Kazan movies because he just did such great work with the actors and pulled off such amazing performances. And then, I love French New Wave movies and stuff. I love Fiddler on the Roof by Norman Jewison from the 70s, I believe, and David Lynch movies. I'd have to go by director. It's not necessarily specific movies. I think this one specifically, I was drawn into practical magic, but like the good parts of practical magic, not the easy plot, not the easy plot holes and such. And then for some reason, Beetlejuice never leaves my mind. And I don't know, a little Twin Peaks and definitely Cape Fear. But I think I'm gonna have to make a whole movie that's Cape Fear with corgis at some point.
So when and where is your film screening?
It's screening at online deadCenter Film Festival. They're doing a virtual festival this year, June 11th through the 21st. So, it should be available the whole festival, I believe. And yeah.
Awesome. And then question I've been wanting to ask for a while, what is next for you? What projects do you have on the horizon that you're developing?
I have a couple of scripts that one of them is called Chicken House, and it's a comedy about 5 actors living in a house, and they get one of the roommates decides to sublet their room while they go to LA for a while. And their new roommate is pretty nuts and just shakes up the house and, makes everyone get out of their shell a little bit. And there's a lot going on there. There's an exorcism and there's some ghosts and
chaos ensues.
Yeah, there's some Latter-day Saints. It's pretty fun. I like it. And And then a bigger budget movie that it just depends on, what money comes first, which one wants to get funded first. The other one is called The Devil is a Busy Man, and it's about an actress, an older actress whose ex-husband he's dead, and he starts haunting her just to argue with her about the same old things they argued about when they were married. So she goes to this mysterious doctor to try and relieve her of this ghost, and they kind of just like go through flashbacks of the relationship and such. And I kind of draw some inspiration on that one from Citizen Kane, but also just like some De Palma movies. It's very odd and surreal drama.
Are those two scripts features, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, we're excited for your next projects. You're a brilliant writer and director and have a really unique vision. So we're excited to follow your next projects and looking forward to those.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Kate. We're super excited for everything that you have going on in the future and your films. We're going to be obviously following you and stay in touch. Again, thanks again for coming on the RFP. And to our audience, don't forget to check out She's the Eldest on social media and check out the website, she'stheeldest.com. Thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you.
Just take care. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.